Hello everyone, and it's a great opportunity to be presenting at P0SCon, this international security conference. So my topic today is going to be about data breaches, and we're going to dive into the dark side of it. And so we're going to discuss how evil it is as well, and so on. So let's dive right in. First of all, who am I? So I'm a Russian hacker, which means I'm a penetration tester by day and a security researcher by night. I have about 10 years of experience as an IT professional. I have started as a technical support engineer, then moved to sysadmin, and right now I'm a penetration tester. So I've actively participate in capture the flag challenges, hackathons, pen testing, and red teaming competitions. I have a couple of bugs, one is critical and one is medium bug in Oracle. And I also enjoy doing hardware hacking, reverse engineering firmware, and everything like this, electronics and so on. So I have developed several Python tools, like cracking POP3 passwords and a lot of other useful tools as well. So let's dive in. So basically, when we talk about data breaches, uh, like the picture here actually describes what kind of data we're talking about. Basically, if a data is breached, we're talking about your wallet, your passport, your credit card, your email, and your password. So you can know from this how serious it is. You obviously don't want to make this kind of data public for everyone. This is private. This is only for you. So that's how the criticality of it. So I think that was scary, right? So to get a better idea of a data breach, basically, let's say you have a you want to buy something from eBay, right? So you have a credit card, right? And you buy something on eBay. Basically, the data, your credit card data, and your personal information is now stored on at your bank. It is stored on eBay and some third parties. So imagine that someday someone actually hacked into the bank or hacked eBay. You have put a lot of trust into these two entities, and now they got hacked. So what happens now is that your data that was supposed to be secure and safe and private is actually right now in the public because someone have hacked into these entities and now downloaded the database, and he's selling this database in the dark web and so on. But we are gonna come later to this point. So this is the general overview of what it is, right? You can see the impact of such a thing on someone's life. So what data is breached? This is just a glimpse of it, like the main things. We can see passwords, obviously medical records. Now medical records is something very important. We're talking about PII, personally identifiable information, and PHI as well, physical addresses, driver licenses, social security numbers, which is a really big thing. It's a really big deal, and of course credit card information. These are the general ones. So what causes data breaches? So we have two main factors here. We have technology and we have humans, right? If we talk about technology, we can say exploits, for example. So cyber criminals, they target unpatched and misconfigured systems with known exploits, or they can also use zero-day exploits, right? When we talk about humans, we can then talk about phishing attacks. So phishing attacks happen when criminals pose as a trusted source and then they contact victims through email, phone, or SMS to make the victim click a link, and then they infect the computer and so on. Moving to the technical causes as well, one of these is brute forcing, of course. We will discuss this in future slides. This is basically tools that try a lot of passwords, and then you can find some valid passwords through a lot of trial and error. And of course, the last one I have discussed here is stolen and lost devices. So if you have an unencrypted hard drive or laptop, if it's stolen or lost and someone gets hold of it, it might contain a lot of confidential information. So this is a quick phishing example actually, and this one is funny because I think a lot of you or a lot of people receive to their inboxes a lot of phishing email. And this is one example here. Basically, you can see on the left, we're receiving an email from PayPal. We're supposed to link here, to click here, and this is when it comes to me actually, the moment I receive these, sometimes I don't even need to really deep dive here and investigate and check if it's legitimate or not. Basically, I just check the grammar and the spelling. And basically here we can see that, I mean, it's really bad grammar and really bad spelling here. So this is just a done deal for me. I mean, you can basically see that this is phishing email. But this is one way of tricking some users. Unfortunately, some people fall for this and their information is stolen. So what are the phases of data breaches? And we have three phases here. So we actually start with research. This is a very, logical phase here. First of all, an attacker will just, gather information and so on. He will do a lot of research about a certain company. And the second stage here can be, like we discussed earlier, it can be divided into two parts here. It's either going to be a social engineering attack or an infrastructure attack or infrastructure weakness, meaning that it can be an attack on software or service weaknesses. Right. So when we talk about social engineering attacks, we have anything from emails, sending emails with malicious links or malicious attachments and so on. And then software and service weaknesses, then this one is a little bit, I would say it always starts with social engineering, or most of the time. I will not say it always starts with social engineering. It actually starts most of the time with social engineering, because when we talk about software attacks, they have to be well prepared. They have to have all the tools, all the exploits. Sometimes they will need to use zero-day exploits. So most of the time it starts with a social engineering attack, where let's say you have a large business and this business has 50,000 employees, and then you send an email to their HR as if you want to, for example, apply for a job, and you have your job application as a PDF file or as a Word file, let's say a Word file. So this is one vector here. So once this happens, and let's say one victim or one employee actually opens this attachment, so the attacker now has access to their system, and hopefully he will get lateral movement. He will then access some database and he will start extracting information or exfiltrating information through any means here. It can be FTP, it can be anything here. So what kind of damages can there be from a data breach? So basically, the ones that are very logical here, we have legal actions, we have financial losses, reputational damage, criminal charges, customer retention. And here is one example here that went beyond these problems. This is very critical. So we can see here an Ashley Madison data breach, right? So in 2015, in July 2015, a group called itself the Impact Team stole actually 32 million records from this Ashley Madison website. And because of that, marriages and families collapsed, and there were actually reported suicides, and a lot of panic. So you can see what kind of damage this can pose. So here we have some examples of data breaches. We are seeing like really big names here. We're seeing eBay, we're seeing Equifax, we're seeing LinkedIn, Marriott. So really big names here. So we're seeing big numbers here. Like for example, if we check eBay, we're having 145 million users. And we see names, addresses, dates of birth, encrypted passwords. Right, the Equifax is one famous data breach. I mean, if you look at it, you will see social security numbers being breached. So this is really serious. And here we have some statistics. So we can see like we're dealing with like really huge numbers. We can see, for example, if we look down, we can see the total data records lost or stolen since 2013. We're talking like 9.7 billion, right? This is not a small number. We see that we have a really big number here. And here we also have some cybersecurity stats. So we can see here that almost half of all companies have over 1,000 sensitive pieces of information that are not protected. We can see that by 2021, which is right now, the cost of cybercrime is expected to exceed $6 trillion, right? And a really big part of this is actually data breaches. And we see large businesses and large names that are actually affected by this. So now we're going to discuss about the dark side of this. So we discussed data breaches, and then what is actually the dark side of this? So the dark side is actually what we call credential stuffing. So let's say that you have, like we are doing an analogy here. Let's say you have stolen a key, and this key will open this lock here, right? Now, when it comes to credential stuffing, if you steal this key, now you will use this key to actually try to unlock all of these locks. So if you have 5,000 locks, you have this key, you will just try them one after the other, And this is what we call credential stuffing attack. So in more technical terms here, internet users continue to reuse the same passwords for multiple accounts and don't develop strong password hygiene, right? So if a hacker breaches one database on eBay, he then gains access to the rest of your accounts on Facebook, Twitter, Amazon, and a lot more. So this is the risk of this password reuse. So here we have an illustration of a domino effect. And basically what happens here is that, like I mentioned earlier, someone breaches one company, he exfiltrates its data. He has access to all the usernames and passwords. What happens is that he will go ahead and try these usernames and passwords on another business, on another company, right? So it becomes breached and the list goes on, just goes on and on. And here we have some of the credential stuffing tools. So we can mention on the right here, we have these very basic tools that are available on Hydra. Available on Kali Linux. So we have Medusa and we have Hydra. These are very basic brute forcing tools, but we need something more sophisticated for credential stuffing. So I have listed 3 famous ones. So we have the Sniper tool, we have a tool called Storm, and we have a tool called Sentry MBA. So these tools have some sophisticated functionality, like they have custom configurations for each and every website. They have bots, they have proxies where you can do, for example, proxy rotations. They have combo lists already built in. And some of them have the ability to bypass defenses such as rate limiting, some types of CAPTCHA, two-factor authentication, and as well, of course, they have good parallelization and anonymity. So where do we get these breach DBs? So I mean, when a data breach happens, like sometimes people will upload it to the dark web and then sell it. This is one of the things. So anyone with some bitcoins, right, an amount of bitcoins, will be able to buy these breach databases, and some of them are actually free. So we can find them on the dark web, obviously, and also they are on the normal websites, on hacking forums, right? We have two examples here. So we can see on the left here, for example, if we look closely, we see that we have an Aptoid database. Now, an Aptoid is similar to Google Play, right? So it is usually on Huawei. It is installed on Huawei, for example. And we have 6 million, where I think the data breach that happened on Aptoid is much more, like it's, let's say, 50 million. But they are actually selling 6 million email password combinations, and these are already decrypted. So they have actually, when a data breach, the database there has passwords stored in hashed format, so they are hashed. And these guys have done all the work for you. They have decrypted most of them, and they're selling them, right? So like I said earlier, once you buy, for example, a breach database, you download it, then you open it, you will see a combination of emails and passwords. And one example of how passwords will look, because you will rarely see like clear text passwords. There will always be some type of hash or encryption. So for this one, for example, we are using a SHA-1 hash, right? So a lot of people do not use really strong passwords, so it is as simple as just copying that hash and then pasting it into any kind of online hash decryptor, right? So this is an example here. We have a password decrypted, which is from 1 to 8. Okay, so how do we actually prevent data breaches? So I have listed some points here. These are like the main points. So first of all, patching and updating software as soon as possible. High-grade encryption for sensitive data. And here when we come to, for example, storing passwords on websites, obviously you will be using some type of hash. You will be storing them in hashed format like SHA-1 or SHA-2. MD5 is really weak nowadays. So what is recommended is actually bcrypt. So this is for number 2. So number 3, we have enforcing BYOD, which is bring your own device security policies. So here you have to require all devices to use VPN and antivirus. Obviously enforcing strong credentials and multi-factor authentication. And here we are talking about users in the business. They should be using, for example, minimum 8 characters. It has to contain like a capital letter, a small letter, a special character, and so on. And of course, there should be multi-factor authentication. Training and educating employees as well. This is very important on best security practices and ways to avoid social engineering attacks. And of course, the use of DLD or DLP software, which is data leak detection and data leak prevention software. Okay, so we're gonna do a demo now. In this demo, we're gonna just have a test database. So this is not real data. This is just a test. We're just simulating this to be in a real environment. So this is all test. We will be having a database, a breach database that contains a lot of usernames or emails and their hashed passwords. We will then pick a victim. We will pick one email and then try to decrypt its hash, and then afterwards we're gonna try to actually we're gonna try to then log into the services, like we're gonna try to log into Gmail, for example, and then eBay. So let's start with the demo. So first thing we're gonna do, we will our file, our breach database, we will actually first of all look at its size here. So we have ls-l-bf. Our breach database is bf_1.txt. Let's see how big it is. Okay, so we see it is about 2 gigabytes of text, so it is quite huge, right? It contains a lot of data. So as an attacker, for example, I have downloaded this database, this large file, and now I have a victim that I would like to attack to see if it's actually available, if it's existing on this database. For example, let's say this is a Dropbox data breach. I have downloaded, and now I will just grab it, and let's see if we have a record of this email. Of course, this is something that I have recently created, and so this is a test. So we're just gonna check if this file or database contains this email. Okay, it looks like we have a hit, and this particular hash is a bcrypt hash, right? So right now we're just gonna copy this hash and then attempt to crack it. So it's taking some time. It's a 2 gigabyte file. Okay, so for our crack operation, we're also going to use the RawQ word list. This is a very famous and known word list as well. You can download it from the internet. This will be used for our word list or dictionary attack. So let's wait till this grep finishes. Obviously, this is a huge file. Okay. It should be finishing. Okay, so it finished. So the next step, we're gonna just check if we have the RawQ file. We're also gonna check if it is there and its size. Okay, this is rawq.txt. Okay, it is there, we have it. So this one is quite a huge file as well. So the first thing we will do is we will be using the Hashcat cracking tool, and we will be using this, we will be saving this into a file, right? So we will copy this and then we will echo it out into a file called, we will call it hash.txt. So we echo and then we just paste, right? And into hash.txt. And one thing we have to modify it, since this is inside a terminal. We have to put backslash before the dollar signs. Okay, it is there. Let's verify that. .txt. Okay, so it looks to be correct. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna run Hashcat. Let's clear this out. So let's run Hashcat now. So we do Hashcat. Then we do --force -m (3200). So this basically means 3200 that we're going to be using the bcrypt hash here. So we will tell Hashcat we'll be using the bcrypt hash. -A0 is a dictionary attack. We're going to supply the hash file, hash.txt of our victim, and then the word list, which is rawq.txt. Okay, so that looks good. Let's see if we will be able to crack this hash. Of course, you can run a massive operation with this Hashcat tool. You can run it on the cloud. You can run it on better hardware to attempt, for example, to do a mass cracking operation. So it will be much faster for you. So let's wait a little. Right, and so also this version of Hashcat, this is for Windows. You can actually download it and install it. It will run normally here on Windows. A lot of people use it mostly on Linux operating system, but you can also use it on Linux. And for people asking about this terminal that I'm using, you can use it on Windows. This is actually called MOBA Xterm. Okay, it looks like we have started the attack, so let's see. Okay, dictionary cache hits, so we can see. All right, so it looks like we got something here. So we can see that the status here, it is cracked. Right, the hash, type of hash is bcrypt. And this is actually the password. Right, so this is the result here. This is our hash. This is our bcrypt hash here, separated by a colon. And then we have the password. So our password is this one. Let's copy it. Right, this we're just doing uh, like a real world attack, like it would happen in the real world, right? So and then afterwards we're gonna just try to log in. We're just gonna put our victim's account. Okay, and then we're gonna go put his password. Okay, it looks like because in the real world you're gonna be using credential stuff hacking like tools, and we're just doing credential stuffing here in the manual way. So we'll be putting here uh, okay, and we're just gonna use the same. Okay, I'm just gonna use the same password. Okay, and we are also able to log in, as you can see. Right, so we are able to log into eBay and to Gmail as well. So that's it for the demo. If you have any questions, I will be glad to actually answer. These are my contact details as well. So thanks a lot for this opportunity again, and I hope you enjoyed this talk.